All right, welcome back. Again, in the last lesson, we looked at the layout of a keyboard and we were able to focus on the white and the black keys, and we were able to locate middle C and all the other C's on the keyboard because C is simply the white note that is to the left of every set of two black keys, and that's all there is to it, to finding middle C. Now, let's look at how do we name the rest of the notes on the keyboard. So if you go up the keyboards, we're going to start with middle C, and if we simply go to the right, going up the keyboard, that simply is the next alphanumerical letter of the alphabet. So that's going to be D. This is going to be E, F, G, A, and B. And then we start over again with C. So there's only 7 alphabetical letters associated with the keyboard. These are what we call diatonic notes, and that's simply these 7 notes of C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. We're starting with the key of C. Now, in this phraseology of the usage of the name key, it can refer to 2 different things. It can refer to the physical button that you press on the keyboard to make a note. That's why it's called a keyboard. But it can also refer to the collection of notes and even chords that work together in harmony to create a song. So as I use the word the key of C, it means, and you're going to learn this in lessons moving ahead, of the different collection of notes that you can play together to form chords. And there's a series of these chords that work together to make a song sound the way it sounds. So that's what we refer to as the key of C, or the key of G, or the key of B. So the word key can be used in 2 ways: the physical button or the collection of keys that form the key for the song. I hope that makes sense. If not, it'll make sense later on, I promise you. So now let's look at, we see here all the different letters. The letters, this is important to point out, the letters are never going to change. A C is a C. It's always going to be a C. A D is always going to be a D. E is always going to be E. That's never going to change, and that pattern just simply repeats itself all up and down the keyboard. So we now know how to find every C on the keyboard, and now we know how to find all the other letters of the notes on the keyboard as well. Once we find C, we move up the keyboard. It just goes alphabetically: D, E, F, G, A, B, and then back to C. And then it starts over again with D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now, what I'm going to show you next does change depending on the key that you're playing in. Again, the key meaning the collection of notes and chords that work together in harmony to create a song. So what I'm about to show you right now will change with the different keys that we're going to be learning in eventually. But for now, what I want you to learn is the key that we're playing in, which right now is the key of C. The first note in the scale for that key is going to be the note for the name of the key that we're playing in. So if we're in the key of C, we're going to start with a note of C. Pretty simple. And that C is associated with the number 1 on the numerical scale. D would be 2, E would be 3, F would be 4, G is 5, and so on and so forth till we get to 7. Okay, this is what we call a diatonic scale. There's 7 notes in a diatonic scale. In this particular case, we're working with the key of C, so the diatonic scale for C would simply be C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's the diatonic scale for the key of C. Now, if we were playing in the key of G, for example, G then would become the 1, and then A would become the 2, B would be the 3, C would be the 4, D is 5, E is 6, and F is 7, and then G starts over again at 1. So when we apply these numbers, when you reset the octave or go to the next, C or G or whatever you're dealing with, that becomes 1 all over again. So in this case, all in the key of C, All the C's are 1. All the D's are 2. All the E's are 3. This is going to make sense a little in future lessons, so hang with me on this. Just to learn this basic concept. And we're going to stay in the key of C for quite a while. But I do want you to know, looking ahead, that as we change keys, we go from the key of C to the key of G, the numbers will all shift to match the key of the melodic song that we're going to be playing. So there is a difference in the numbers and the letters, but I want you to be able to look at a keyboard, be able to name all of the keys by letter name, and then be able to associate a number with those letters based on what key we're playing in. So for right now, we're going to stick with the key of C. It's going to primarily be focusing on all the white keys or the primary keys. So 1 for right now is going to be associated with C. D will be 2, E will be 3, and so on and so forth.
All right, so I'm going to throw this in this video here to teach you a little deeper concept of music theory and how the chromatic versus the diatonic scale is constructed so that you'll understand this for later purposes. So for the diatonic scale, right now we're playing the key of C, so we're just playing on the white keys. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Stay on the white keys. Versus a chromatic scale, we're including the black keys. We're still ending up on B every time, and we're starting on C. Now this is what I want you to understand. When we're going up the chromatic scale, every single transition from one note to another is considered a half of a step. We call these semitones as well, but I'm going to call them half steps for right now. So if we go up the chromatic scale, C to C sharp is 1/2 step. C sharp to D is 1/2 step. D to D sharp is a half step. D sharp to E is a half step. Now what about from E to F? That almost seems like a whole step, but it's really a half because there's no black key. Okay, there's no enharmonic key because both of these are really the enharmonic keys. So there is an enharmonic key, it's E and F. E is also F flat. F is also E sharp. Even though there's not a black key, the enharmonic key is the E and the F, and they serve the sharp or the flat to each other. So a half step, half step, half step, half step, that's technically a half step, and it continues all the way up. So in reality, going up the diatonic scale, and this will be true in every key that you're going to learn to play, the transition is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. So there's 2 whole steps, 1, 2, a half step, and then 1, 2, 3 whole steps. This will be true in every key you're going to learn to play in. Right now we're focusing on the key of C because it's easier, but I want you to get that concept and see the difference in the diatonic scale versus the chromatic scale. And the main thing to take away from this segment is when you're playing the diatonic scale, you're going 2 whole steps, 1 half step, and then 3 more whole steps to complete the 7 notes for the diatonic scale.
So that's really all there is to this lesson, is I want you to learn the names and numbers associated with the notes on the piano, as well as the key of C, and that's what we're going to be begin learning in for the next several videos. We're going to keep it in the key of C to keep it simple. All right, so learn this information up to this point, and we'll see you in the next lesson.